Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge right into your source material and hopefully uncover some of those hidden gems. Today we've got a really fun one. We're doing a deep dive into a short story called The Tantalizing Turkey Caper.
Yeah, you've given us this wonderfully quirky story, two main characters, Scarlett and Rocky, very adventurous. And alongside that, we've got some vocabulary lessons from Learn Vocab Fast, Chapter 2 specifically. So a nice pairing. Okay, so our mission today, basically threefold. First, we want to really unpack the characters, Scarlett and Rocky, get into their personalities. Second, we'll use the story itself, the caper, as a kind of real-world example to help you get a handle on some key words from that vocabulary chapter, see them in action. And finally, we'll sort of zoom out, look at the story's structure, think about how it works for a young adult audience, maybe talk about pacing tweaks.
Yeah, what's great here is how, even though it's short, the story gives us so much to work with. Character dynamics, how language is used practically.
Right.
It's a perfect example of how stories can make learning, stick. Okay, let's get into this duo then. We meet Scarlett first, right? The vigilant connoisseur in her crimson coat. And then there's Rocky. I love this description. Sprawled upside down on the couch like an adolescent philosopher who had just discovered naps. What a pair.
Exactly. And those intros, they do so much work right away. You immediately get their core personalities. Scarlett is, discerning. She's ambitious, driven by these, exquisite tastes. Remember how she talked about the turkey?
Oh yeah, not your average rotisserie peasant bird. This one's tantalizing.
Right. It shows that sophisticated palate, maybe a bit of drama too. She's the ideas person, the initiator. She even calls a previous tactical foraging mission, elevates the whole thing.
And Rocky, he feels like the opposite almost.
Yeah.
Grounded, maybe a bit cynical. He's the nap guy. And the voice of caution. Thinking about that garden hose incident, his ears still recoil. You feel that.
You do. It adds that layer of past trauma, makes him relatable. But he's loyal underneath it all.
Yeah, he complains, but he goes along.
Absolutely. That's their dynamic. He's skeptical, asks if it's another wild goose chase, but then, fine, but no capes. And that little smirk suggests he kind of enjoys it, the thrill, the banter with Scarlett.
It's that symbiotic excellence they mention later, isn't it?
Exactly. They complement each other. It's not just one leader, one follower. Their differences make the partnership work.
Okay, and the planning stage, that tells us even more. When Scarlett refuses the distraction role, that line, contradict my talents again, and I'll incapacitate your next tennis ball.
Wow. Yes, that's pivotal. It's funny, but it also shows she sees herself as the brains of the operation, the lead, not the sidekick.
It definitely challenges your expectations for a character like her.
It does. It shows her self-worth.
Yeah.
And what's great is how Rocky reacts.
He just goes with it.
Right. No argument. You're right. We flip it. That shows real partnership, mutual understanding, even if they are planning a turkey heist.
And he comes up with the exploitation of human noise sensitivity. Very specific.
Brilliant detail, yeah. Shows he's thinking, too, not just following orders.
And then the plan immediately falls apart, which is, honestly, kind of perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Scarlett face planting in the leaves, Rocky and the wind chime apocalypse. It's pure slapstick.
But the escape triumphant in spirit.
Exactly. And Scarlett's comment about less hostility toward wind chimes and Rocky admitting he loved the thrill. It shows the real win wasn't the turkey. It was the shared adventure, the daring. That's very YA, I think. The experience over the outcome.
Okay, that's a great segue into Learn Vocab Fast, Chapter 2. The book talks about repetition, real-world examples. And we've got Scarlett and Rocky giving us exactly that. So let's try to help you really internalize these words.
Yeah, it's about understanding why a word is used, not just its definition, how it adds flavor or humor. Let's start with nomadic.
Okay, nomadic. The book says living the life of a wanderer. But how does it apply to Rocky?
Well, Scarlett calls him a nomadic gourmand. It's not just that he wanders, it paints this picture of him on a quest for gourmet food. It adds this layer of playful sophistication to his desire for snacks. Makes him funnier.
It elevates his napping and snacking. Okay, how about exploitation? Usually sounds negative, right? Using someone unfairly.
Right. But Rocky's plan is exploitation of human noise sensitivity. Here, it's used playfully. He's not being truly malicious. He's just cleverly using their reaction to noise to try and get the turkey. It shows how context changes a word's feel, and it shows Rocky's clever side.
Makes sense. Then there's foraging, simply searching for food. But Scarlett adds a twist.
She does. A tactical foraging mission. That word tactical, it just amps everything up. Suddenly looking for food is this, coordinated military op. It's pure Scarlett, very dramatic, very self-important. Hilarious, really.
Okay, another one about Scarlett, connoisseur. Expert knowledge, refined taste, applied to sense.
Yeah. Calling her a connoisseur of scents, especially for a bird, it just elevates her sense of smell. It makes her seem incredibly refined, almost like an art critic, but for smells. It really underlines that discerning part of her personality.
And the object of her connoisseurship, the tantalizing turkey. Arousing interest. Just out of reach.
That word is perfect, isn't it? It captures the whole driving force of the story. It's not just appealing, it's specifically out of reach. That creates the desire, the frustration, the whole reason for the caper. It's the core tension.
And their plan, Rocky calls it symbiotic excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Symbiotic, like in biology, mutual benefit.
Exactly. It sounds almost scientific, right? But applied here, it highlights how their different actions, his distraction, her breach, are meant to work together perfectly for one goal. It makes their little partnership sound incredibly efficient and sophisticated. Again, humorously applied to stealing food.
Okay, back to Scarlett's big moment. That look of pure defiance. Open resistance.
That look says it all. She's not just disagreeing with Rocky. She's boldly, openly resisting the role he suggested. It hammers home her strong will, her belief in her own skills. She will not be sidelined, reinforces her leadership.
And Rocky's fear. His ears recoil from the memory of the hose, spring back in fear or disgust.
Yeah, recoil is such a physical word, you can almost see his ears flinch. It's not just a bad memory, it's a visceral reaction. It shows that past failure still affects him physically, adds that touch of vulnerability. Makes him more than just the cynical sidekick.
Last one for now. Incapacitate. Scarlett's threat about the tennis ball. Prevent from functioning normally.
It's such a great threat, using this strong, almost formal word, incapacitate, but applying it to a tennis ball. It's funny, but it shows her wit, her command of language, even in a threat. She knows how to get Rocky's attention. A disabled tennis ball is serious business for him.
Okay, so pulling all this together, what about the story structure? It's super concise. Setup, goal, plan, attempt, funny failure.
Right. And for a quick read, especially for maybe younger YA readers or just a short story format, it works really well. It's punchy, clear voices, funny idea, gets right to it.
But if this were, say, a longer YA novel, maybe the pacing would need some adjustment.
Definitely. That's where you might expand things. The humor now comes from how fast it all happens. But in a longer piece, you might want to build more suspense.
Like that unshakable precision almost line. It's great, but the almost hits immediately.
Exactly. In a short story, that's the punchline. But imagine drawing out that almost, building the tension during the actual heist. Maybe they almost get caught. Maybe there are obstacles inside the house they have to navigate carefully. More near misses before the final comical failure.
You could definitely spend more time with Rocky building that anticipation before Scarlett goes in. Or make the consequences of the failure more complex. That garden hose memory hints at past failures. Maybe you could even flash back to one. Show us another caper.
That's a great idea. A flashback could add depth, show their history, maybe show how they learn not to do something. It builds their relationship.
So maybe thinking about it from the listener's perspective, how could you imagine drawing it out?
Right. Think about extending that stealth of seasoned brigands approach. More sneaking, more close calls. Or the chaos Rocky plans to induce. What if it got bigger than intended? What if the escape was harder? Really testing that triumphant spirit. It's about taking those funny moments and maybe stretching the tension, the action around them to really deepen the engagement for a longer read. Makes the eventual turkey estate feel even more earned somehow.
So there we have it, a deep dive into Scarlett and Rocky's little adventure. We unpacked the characters, saw how vocabulary works in context, not just definitions, right?
Yeah.
And thought about story pacing.
Yeah, understanding why characters do what they do, how specific words create specific effects, how structure shapes experience. These are all, really useful tools. Useful whether you're reading a story like this or tackling, anything else you need to understand deeply.
And it's a good reminder, maybe, that sometimes the real win isn't the turkey, but the shared thrill of trying something a bit bonkers.
Absolutely. That chase for something tantalizing, even if you end up battling wind chimes, that can be its own kind of euphoria. Keep exploring, keep asking questions. There's always more beneath the surface.